Greetings, adventurer. My name is Jack, and you are on the Infinite Staircase. Among the largest and most dangerous organisms known to inhabit the oceans of the material plane, the Kraken represents an apex predator whose intelligence rivals that of most surface-dwelling civilizations. These entities are not only powerful physical threats, but also long-lived strategic thinkers capable of influencing entire coastal regions from the depths. Their presence is typically inferred through indirect signs, disrupted weather patterns, vanishing ships, or the sudden collapse of coastal settlements. Krakens are rarely seen directly, which has led to widespread myth and exaggeration. However, credible accounts and magical observation have allowed for the gradual accumulation of reliable ecological data. These creatures command and shape the sea, both as individuals and as a species with a long evolutionary and magical history. The Kraken are massive aquatic cephalopods, commonly reaching lengths of up to 30 meters, with rare individuals growing even larger over long lifespans. Their bodies are divided into three main regions: the head, the mantle, and the limbs. The head features two large eyes, each about 1.5 meters across, positioned on either side of the skull. These organs are highly adapted for deep-sea environments, allowing the Kraken to see clearly in complete darkness and detect faint traces of bioluminescence. Below the eyes is the mouth, centered between the limbs and containing a powerful beak made of hardened material similar to keratin. This beak is capable of tearing through the flesh of whales and other large prey. The Kraken possess 10 limbs in total. 8 of these are shorter arms, each averaging 9 meters in length, lined with rows of suction cups and small hooks for grasping. The remaining 2 are longer, reaching up to 18 meters, and are tipped with barbs that can impale or crush targets. These limbs are highly flexible and capable of fine manipulation or powerful strikes. The mantle is thick, muscular, and bulbous, housing the creature's vital organs. Its skin is typically dark purple or black, often mottled with irregular patches that help it blend with the abyssal sea floor. In some individuals, faint bioluminescent markings are present, though their function remains unknown, possibly communicative or territorial. The Kraken's biology is optimized for life in deep oceanic environments. Internally, it exhibits an advanced cardiovascular and respiratory system suited for surviving under immense pressure and without light. Its circulatory fluid, both thicker and darker than blood, serves as a nutrient carrier and a medium for storing magical energy. Musculature throughout the limbs and mantle is extremely dense, allowing for powerful bursts of speed and precise control over its 10 limbs. The nervous system is highly centralized within a heavily protected cranial vault, and the creature displays bilateral symmetry consistent with most complex marine invertebrates. Krakens possess large, forward-facing eyes capable of functioning in complete darkness. Likely through the use of thermal sensitivity, these eyes can track rapid movement and perceive magical auras. Additionally, Krakens are capable of detecting the presence and movement of living organisms in the water through minute electrical disturbances. Their limbs are lined with both muscular suckers and retractable barbs, which serve dual purposes: manipulation of objects and incapacitation of prey. Reproductive behavior amongst Krakens is infrequent and biologically taxing. Mating occurs once every few centuries during a phenomenon known as the hateful compulsion. This event, driven by an irresistible biological drive rather than a conscious choice, leads Krakens from vast distances to congregate in deep oceanic trenches. The resulting activity produces widespread storms and upheavals in local oceanic currents. Fertilization is external, with females depositing membranous cylindrical egg sacs in sediment-heavy caverns. These eggs require up to a decade to hatch, and juvenile survival is low due to heavy predation and environmental instability. Krakens are obligate carnivores with extremely high energy requirements. A single adult may consume several large whales in a month. Their diet includes aquatic megafauna, deep-sea aberrations, and when near coastal zones, humanoids and livestock. Notably, krakens do not feed out of hunger alone. Many feeding events double as a demonstration of dominance, or as acts of territorial enforcement. While most prey is consumed immediately, krakens occasionally store live captives in air-filled chambers within their lairs, either for consumption later or other purposes, including both experimentation or forced labor. Krakens inhabit the deepest regions of the world's oceans, favoring trenches and abyssal plains where sunlight fails to penetrate and pressures reach extremes few other creatures could endure. These environments are characterized by near-freezing temperatures, perpetual darkness, and limited nutrient influx, conditions that demand specialized adaptations. These lairs are often found within vast underwater cave systems or natural fissures in the seabed, spaces large enough to accommodate their immense size and to provide shelter from rivals and environmental disturbances. As I mentioned, these subterranean retreats commonly include air-filled chambers, maintained through unknown biological or magical means, where kraken store captured slaves and prey. While krakens are capable of venturing closer to coastal areas, they typically avoid shallow waters, where mobility and stealth are compromised. Nonetheless, their influence extends to coastal regions through raids and manipulation of local ecosystems. In some cases, settlements have fallen under the sway of kraken worshippers or servants, acting as proxies to extend the creature's reach beyond the ocean's depths. Oceanic currents, geomagnetic features, and the presence of abundant prey shape kraken distribution across the oceans. Their territories often span hundreds of miles, overlapping with other apex predators, yet fiercely defended through displays of power and cunning strategy. Kraken exhibit a range of powerful physical and magical capabilities that ensure their dominance in aquatic environments. Their amphibious nature allows them to breathe both air and water, enabling them to hunt and navigate across diverse habitats. The creature's 10 tentacles are formidable tools in both defense and offense. Each tentacle can grapple a target up to 30 feet away, holding them with immense strength and restraining movement. This allows the kraken to immobilize multiple opponents simultaneously. It can then deliver crushing blows with these limbs, or employ its bite, a devastating attack capable of swallowing prey whole. Once inside the kraken's stomach, victims are blinded, restrained, and subjected to potent acid damage. However, if the kraken receives severe internal damage, it may be forced to regurgitate its swallowed prey. Kraken can also launch one large or smaller object or creature they hold up to 60 feet in a random direction. This ability, known as fling, is both a tactical weapon and a means to cause chaos amongst enemies. Targets thrown against solid surfaces take additional damage, and those knocked into others can transfer this harm, disrupting their formation. Beyond their physical prowess, kraken wield impressive elemental magic. Their signature ability, known as Lightning Storm, allows them to summon bolts of lightning to strike multiple targets within a long range. This attack tests the dexterity of their foes, delivering significant electrical damage on failure. Kraken are highly resilient in battle, capable of ignoring effects that would otherwise slow or restrain them, and can escape non-magical bindings with ease. Their strength extends to structures, dealing double damage to objects and fortifications, which allows them to tear apart ships or underwater constructions with efficiency. Among their legendary actions, Kraken can repeat tentacle attacks or fling targets multiple times in a single round. They can also create dense clouds of toxic ink underwater, which obscures vision and inflicts poison damage on creatures trapped within. This ink cloud serves as an effective defensive mechanism to escape or disorient adversaries. Occasionally, rare Krakens display limited psionic powers, allowing them to communicate telepathically or exert mental influence over other beings. This ability enhances their tactical control and intimidation within their environment. Krakens are predominantly solitary creatures, each occupying a wide territory in the deep ocean. They mark and defend these territories with force, responding aggressively to any perceived intruders, including others of their own species. Encounters between Krakens are rare, but often violent, suggesting a social structure that relies on dominance through strength and intimidation rather than cooperation or complex social bonds. Despite their solitary nature, Kraken influence the surrounding ecosystem extensively. Their hunting habits regulate populations of large marine fauna, preventing any single species from becoming overly dominant. The physical disturbance caused by their movements reshapes the seafloor habitat and affects the distribution of smaller species. Kraken interactions extend beyond direct predation. Scavengers and opportunistic creatures follow closely behind them, capitalizing on discarded prey and leftovers. This creates a network of ecological connections, where Krakens indirectly support a variety of species through the resources that they provide. When Krakens encounter other intelligent or powerful beings, they show a measured approach. They typically avoid unnecessary confrontations unless their territory or survival is threatened. While Kraken do not practice organized religion, some exhibit behaviors that suggest reverence for powerful entities associated with the sea. Among these, the demon prince Dagon is the most commonly linked figure. As a primordial force tied to the ocean's depths and chaos, Dagon represents ideals that align with Kraken behavior: territorial dominance, destruction, and the unfathomable reaches of the deep waters. In regions where Dagon's influence is strong, Kraken may incorporate his imagery or name into their displays of authority. This might include the shaping of their lairs into symbols associated with Dagon, or the hoarding of relics tied to abyssal cults. Some may even serve as protectors or overlords of coastal cults dedicated to him, using such followers as extensions of their own will on land. Not all Krakens exhibit this connection, however. Many remain entirely self-directed, viewing the ocean itself as sufficient source for identity and power. These individuals often operate without regard for any higher being, seeing themselves as the final authority within their domain. The Kraken that has gained the most notoriety throughout the planes is the one known as Slarkrethel, a master wizard. Slarkrethel's magical abilities rival those of the most powerful mortal archmages. As a chosen of the sea goddess Umberlee, it benefits from protections against divination and psionic detection, along with magical defenses comparable to advanced evasive spells. Its extensive collection of magical items, many of which are custom designed for underwater use, amplify its power and control over its domain. Beyond rulership, Slarkrethel's ambitions extend towards apotheosis, seeking divinity through tireless effort. It governs a vast undersea kingdom in the northern trackless sea, and commands a retinue of marine creatures such as weresharks, nereids, merrow, dire sharks, and charmed orcas. These beings both serve as protectors and instruments of its will, and are often sacrificed without hesitation. As a founder of the Kraken Society, Slarkrithel established a network of spies and agents that spread its influence throughout the seas and coastal regions. Leadership within this organization is entrusted to a select group of lieutenants, ensuring tight control and loyalty enforced by power and fear. Slarkrithel's origins remain uncertain. Some accounts trace its rise from the submerged ruins of a Skald, where it drew inspiration to restore its species' former glory and pursue divine power. Other traditions suggest it is an ancient beyond measure, having existed for tens of thousands of years, recruiting outcasts and exiles through dark rituals that transform them physically and spiritually. Its influence reaches beyond the depths, involving conflicts with powerful surface figures and the seizure of magical artifacts. Through events and direct action, Slarkrithel shapes events to align with its devotion to Umberlee, solidifying its status as a dominant presence beneath the waves. As our time here comes to an end, I'd like to thank you for visiting. And if you liked what you heard and saw, I've left a box for feedback near the door, along with a handy device that alerts you when I'm ready to discuss our next creature. Stay safe on your travels, adventurer.